So, you remember a few months ago I made a video titled the Olivia, Joshua, Sabrina Drama 2022 edition, where I discussed the love triangle between the three of them and all the songs they wrote about each other. And at the end of that video, I said that it seemed like things were actually, probably over and it was a happy ending because Sabrina was going on tour with her new album and Joshua and Olivia had appeared together at the High School Musical, the series season 3 premiere event, and the two of them had their arms around each other and they were laughing, and it looked as if everyone had just put this whole situation behind them and that we had moved on. Well, it turns out that was bollocks, because from August 2022 through to October 2022, Joshua Bassett has released a bunch of new songs, and a lot of them, once again, appeared to be about Olivia Rodrigo. If he had released them just a few months earlier, they would have got into my old video, but no, he had to make life difficult for me. Damn you, Ricky Bowen. Now, I am nothing if not a perfectionist, and I can't leave this unfinished. So, once again, we are diving back into the world of the Olivia Rodrigo, Joshua Bassett, and Sabrina Carpenter love triangle drama. At this point, this is an academic thesis, and it must be updated to reflect new developments in the field. This is science. So, we're going to break down the new songs, because I have no life. And it is January, so what else are we going to do? That's the thing, this video is going to have to be titled like 2022 edition part 2, even though it's been uploaded in 2023. I didn't get finished in time. I wrote the script and didn't have time to film it before the whole Christmas, New Year, Christmas and New Year exist in a different dimension. I didn't manage to get anything filmed. So, it's going up in 2023, but it's 2022 edition part 2. Just roll with it. Anyway, let's get into it. So when we left off with Joshua in the previous video, his most recent release was Crisis Secret Set Me Free, the 3-song EP that he released. Well, actually, it was Doppelganger, which I didn't include because lyrically I didn't really think it was relevant to the whole thing, but actually when I re-listened to it, I realised that the opening lines are, "I guess I'm not as over you as I thought I was. I saw someone who looked like you at our favourite coffee shop, and part of me was hoping we would get the chance to talk." Which, when I thought about it, is actually very similar to the lyrics from Sabrina's single Skinny Dipping from her latest album, which opens with the lines, "It'll be a Wednesday and I'll be going in this coffee shop, hear the barista call an oat milk latte in your name, and I look up from my phone and think there's no chance it's you, but it is. You'll say hi, I'll say hi, how are you? You'll say how's your family, how's your sister? I'll say Shannon's being Shannon, and after a minute of nonsensical chatter, you'll say, well, this was really nice, maybe we could do this on purpose sometime, and it'll have been long enough that we won't harp on." So, there's a chance that Joshua's song was actually about Sabrina because they're both talking about if they met up in a coffee shop and they got to talk. It could be a coincidence, but I don't know, they seem similar. Although her song came out in July and his song came out in August, but I mean, that's not to say he couldn't have got the song written and produced in a month. He could have. But yeah, I think there might be a connection there. But Doppelganger is mostly just a song about missing someone that you're not over. There are far more dramatic songs that he's released in the past few months, and that is what you're all here for. You're here for the tea. Doppelganger is not tea, but trust me, there is tea. So, let's keep going. Let's start with Finally Free. So this song is actually from High School Musical, the series season 3, but it was written by Joshua himself, and there are some interesting lyrics in there and some things that I think are worth talking about. This actually came out in July of 2022, so we are going backwards again, but I still think it's worth mentioning. Sorry, I'm jumping all over the place, but just roll with me on this one, okay? Just go with me. Follow my pinboard with the red string stuck in it, okay? So, spoiler alerts for High School Musical, the series, if you haven't seen it and you are planning to watch it. So, Ricky and Nene are the main couple in the first 2 seasons, Ricky and Nene being played by Olivia and Joshua. But they break up for good towards the end of season 2. And Ricky briefly dates another girl between the end of season 2 and the start of season 3, and that's likely what this is supposed to be referring to when he's saying I'm finally free. But what if Joshua didn't write it from the perspective of Ricky and his relationship with... what was even her name? Lily. His relationship with Lily. So the lyrics go as follows. Racing toward the horizon to see the rearview moon. I'm chasing pavement, escaping the life I knew. Give me empty pages, just give me something new. I'm making up for the time that I lost on you. So I just think that's a really interesting piece there. I'm making up for the time I lost on you. Yeah, he could be referring to Lily, but he could be referring to Nini, but he could also be referring to Olivia. The chorus goes, breaking away from the broken hearts, no more mistakes, no more empty starts. I'm finally free, finally. New state of mind on the interstate, nobody taking my life away. I'm finally free, finally me. And I just think, it's... taking my life away could be a reference to when he almost died at the start of 2021. And you have to ask, what is he finally free of? Lily and the drama with her, Nini and the trouble that they had, or Olivia and the drama that he had with her. Joshua said himself that this song was more personal than it was about Ricky, and it certainly feels as if this could have been on his Joshua Bassett EP. And I always feel it's worth noting that one of his songs from his EP was called Set Me Free, and this one is called Finally Free. So, in my opinion, there could be a link there, because, well, it kind of suggests that he was asking to be set free, and now he is finally free. I just think there's something in that. But let's look at the songs from his EP, Sad Songs in a Hotel Room, starting with the lead single, Smoke Slow, which was released on the 12th of August 2022. This song appears to be about his relationship with Sabrina Carpenter. It tells the story of a relationship that was good, but very short. Making him believe there's a future, is it naive to think we could work? The second it's out, then I lose her. As Sabrina mentioned in her song Because I Like a Boy, by the time their relationship became public knowledge, they'd already broken up. He also goes on to say, breaking away for the hell of it started innocent, which could actually be a reference to Because I Liked a Boy, where Sabrina says, fell so deeply into it, it was all so innocent. That song released on the 15th of July 2022, so just under a month before Smoke Slow released. And like I said, it's a quick turnaround, but for a good songwriter, someone who writes songs from the heart, you can write a song in like 15 minutes, so he could quite easily have heard Because I Liked a Boy and then wrote Smoke Slow in response. The song also begins with a distant voice speaking, which actually sounds like it could be Sabrina herself. I can't confirm that, but it sounds like it could be her, possibly from like an old recording of the two of them together. So I just thought that was worth mentioning. The rest of Sad Songs in a Hotel Room released on the 23rd of September 2022. So let's look at the other songs from the EP. The first song is also titled Sad Songs in a Hotel Room and is about a relationship that lasted a year and then broke down a year ago. This is an interesting one, as Joshua and Olivia broke up in mid-2020 and Joshua and Sabrina broke up in early 2021. As far as we're aware, he wasn't in a relationship a year prior to September 2022. That's not to say that he wasn't. We're not privy to everything that happens in someone's life, even a celebrity. He might have had another relationship that just never reached the tabloids. It could also be that the song was written at a different time, although it's odd that he wouldn't have released it sooner if that was the case. Whatever it is, we don't know for sure who this one is about. I personally don't think it's Olivia. It's all about the time the couple spent in a hotel room and how Joshua is now there alone singing sad songs, and Olivia was only 16 to 17 when they dated, and it just seems a bit young to be getting a hotel room with a boy, especially in California when the age of consent is 18. But I could be wrong. They were together for about a year, whereas Sabrina and Joshua were only together for about 6 months, so the song being about a relationship that lasted a year couldn't really be about Sabrina and Joshua, but it could have been about Olivia. In conclusion, I just don't know who this one's about. I really don't. Let's move on. Next up, we have LA, which isn't about a relationship, it's just about how Joshua feels. It talks about how he had to raise himself ever since he was 16, how unhappy he is living in LA, and how, according to him, nobody in LA is actually happy and your supporters are all temporary. Joshua's spoken a lot in the past about his difficult time growing up, about how he was a survivor of CSA. He ended up living in his car at the age of 16 because he got thrown out of his house. We don't really know why that happened, but he has been through some shit in his life. And that's kind of what that song's about, just his troubled past and how he feels like everything in LA is fake and he's not really happy there. Next up, we have Used to It, and this one is 100% about Olivia, and it is brutal. The song opens with the lines, "I'm not surprised you didn't call. When I almost died, you didn't care at all. Mama said you can't be mad at who you wish somebody was. Well, I'm not surprised you didn't call." Joshua mentioned in a December 2021 interview with Zach Sang that his ex didn't even call to check on him when he was in hospital fighting for his life or during his recovery. The ex is clearly Olivia. He also mentions his mother in his other songs and how she supported him after his breakup with Olivia and through his heart problems. "You're covering up all your sins. I blame it on us being kids." As I said before, Olivia was only 16 to 17 when she dated Joshua, and he was only 19 to 20. So they were still very young, and I suppose, being kids is a fair way to assess that. "You told our friends you hope it hurts. You left me for him with one eye over your shoulder. Stabbed me in the back, and I'm the one who's saying sorry again. You told our friends you're glad it hurts." These lyrics could relate to an unreleased Olivia Rodrigo song called "Victim," which she performed on an Instagram Live in July of 2020. Lyrics of this song are very harsh and actually slightly disturbing, where she says she wishes that her ex would physically hurt her just so everyone could see what a bad person that he is. It's likely she never released this one because it's quite an unpleasant listen and she perhaps realised that it was too much. It includes the lyrics, "Let me be the victim of your perfect crime, bathe in my blood so I'm not the bad guy. So drive the knife in deep, make the victim bleed, and I'll hear the yells, I'll see the red and blue, it'll be in the headlines, all our friends will hate you." So disturbing. In any case, we do know that Olivia discussed the breakup with her friends often due to the line in driver's license, which says, "All my friends are tired of hearing how much I miss you." We also know that they have the same group of friends because they worked on the same TV show, so a lot of Olivia's friends are also Joshua's friends, and you have that problem when you break up with someone who's in your same group, that it's hard to bitch about them to your friends because then you start creating an alienation where some of your friends side with you and some of them side with them, and you end up driving a wedge between your group of friends. I've been there. It's unpleasant. This section of Used to It also reaffirms that, according to Joshua at least, Olivia left him for someone else, as he said previously in his song Secret. Olivia has never confirmed this, and there's no information about Olivia dating anyone else until July of 2021 when she confirmed she was in a relationship with Adam Faze. As such, we still don't know who it is that Joshua believes Olivia left him for, but it's clear that he does believe that because he's mentioned it now in multiple songs. The next song is Lifeline, and this one isn't about a relationship at all. I just want to talk about it because it's absolutely my favourite song Joshua has released to date. It's a song about his time in the hospital when he believed that he was going to die, and the bond that he and his mother had during this time. I really do recommend listening to it because it's one of the most beautiful songs I've ever heard. It hit me like a ton of bricks when I first heard it, and honestly it still does. It brings tears to my eyes. It is a stunning song and entirely worth the listen. So if you have a moment, go and listen to Lifeline. It's really beautiful. Next up we have All in Due Time, which is the last song off the EP, and it's a short song about overcoming trauma and how one day it won't hurt anymore. It'll just be a story you tell, all in due time. We move on now to the 6th of October 2022, where Joshua released his next single, Would You Love Me Now? It's a song about looking back on a past relationship and wondering if that person would take you back if you asked them. It's Betty, but with fewer harmonicas. I'm passing Pasadena, do you still live in LA? This is the first hint that the song's about Olivia, as she did previously live in Pasadena. There's also a link with Josh saying that he's driving past where Olivia used to live, just like she drove past his house in driver's license. Another line says, would you care to see a stranger whose eyes are still the same? And Olivia references Joshua's brown eyes in the opening lines of Traitor, brown guilty eyes and little white lies. Joshua also mentions them being young when they were together, which they were, but we've covered this already. The next verse states that we made ourselves a promise that we would stay in touch, so if we're being honest, that's on both of us. This suggests that the initial breakup wasn't as tense and toxic as it later became, and Joshua feels it's both of their fault that they became so estranged following the split. Which again, I understand. This happened with my previous relationship, where when it ended, it was actually quite amicable, and we were all, we're gonna stay friends because we care about each other. But very quickly that all started to fall apart because it's hard not to feel angry at your ex. Once the initial, kind of sadness at the relationship ending is over, then you start to feel the anger towards them for all the shit that they put you through. And I think that's probably what they mean here. Joshua also makes a reference to one of his previous songs about Olivia with the line, I'm running out of reasons not to do it all again. Of course, we know in our last video we covered his song, which is actually titled Do It All Again, and was about Olivia. Despite all the negative things that Joshua and Olivia have said about each other, Joshua says in the bridge that, you know I'd fly away with you if you asked me to, so what do you say for one more day? So while this song sounds sweet and like he thinks about getting back together with Olivia, the next single told a very different story. 1 week after Would You Love Me Now, Joshua released his next single, She Said, He Said, She Said, which, in my opinion, is his harshest song to date. It's also an absolute bop. Go and listen to it. It's my second favourite after Lifeline. Lifeline is entirely worth a listen, but so is She Said, He Said, She Said for completely different reasons. Pretty much every line of this song is worth talking about, so let's just get into it. The first verse is, I saw you in the back of the room taking shots with your friends again. You talk shit like you always do. I guess high school never ends. This is quite obviously about Olivia. Taking shots with your friends and talk shit like you always do refer to her talking about her relationship with Joshua in a really negative way, both in interviews and in her music, and quite probably to her friends. High School Never Ends, I would think, as a sly reference to High School Musical, the series, and also how the way that Olivia acted, in Josh's eyes anyway, is like a high schooler. Which, in fairness, she was at the time, but You sure got a lot to say when you're talking on my name. You sure got a lot to say, but did you tell them everything? Once again, Joshua is accusing Olivia of talking about him but not telling the whole truth. He did this before in Crisis by saying half the shit you're saying is only half true, and saying Olivia was the one who left him and not the other way around as she tells it. He followed this up by accusing Olivia of seeing another guy behind his back in his next song, Secret. Sabrina also made a reference to Olivia telling her version of the truth in Skin when she said, you've been telling your side, so I'll be telling mine. Joshua goes on to say, when you dance with the devil's going to dance with you, and when you play with fire, the flame's going to burn you too, which is pretty self-explanatory. The chorus goes, starting rumours, it's nothing new, we're on this shit again, she said, he said, she said. I find that we're on this shit again line interesting. It seems to imply that things had calmed between them, as evidenced by the High School Musical, the series Season 3 premiere event, but now they're back in that place again, where they're throwing shade at each other and calling each other out through songs, just like they were in 2021. You just can't get over, I let you go, yeah. Let's put this shit to bed. She said, he said, she said. Here, Joshua's accusing Olivia of talking shit about him purely because she won't move on from the fact that they broke up. One thing I think is intriguing is the way the title is formatted. She said, he said, she said. You remember this entire debacle began in January of 2021 with the release of 3 songs. The first, Driver's License, was released by Olivia. The second, Lie Lie Lie, was from Joshua. And the third, Skin, was from Sabrina. She said, he said, she said. The next verse goes, night ends and you call me again, say you didn't mean what you said, but drunk talks are sober thoughts, so don't act so innocent. I can't keep playing games when your rules are always changing, so if you're saying sorry, you can save it. Again, I don't really need to say much about that. It's super harsh and it says it all. Burn your bridge, talk your shit, I've been growing thicker skin, forgiveness, ask again, patience only runs so thin. I take I've been growing thicker skin as a reference to everything he's been through since he and Olivia broke up, including all of his health issues. He's gone through hell and he isn't letting Olivia's words affect him anymore. Also, between this bridge and the previous verse, it sounds as if Olivia had tried to apologise to Joshua, but he's past caring at this point. A week later again, Josh released another single, this time titled I'm Sorry. I'm Sorry is an interesting one, as Joshua already had a song named Sorry. Sorry was a harsh song talking about Olivia saying you'll be sorry you left me. I'm Sorry, however, is what it sounds like. Joshua apologising for his past behaviour and expressing regret for the way the relationship ended. The song sounds so sorrowful and filled with regret that I almost thought it had to be about Sabrina rather than Olivia. But it isn't, and it's clear from the opening lines. I thought about what I would say, but I'm 2 years too late. I can't imagine how you're doing these days. When this song came out, Sabrina and Joshua had only been broken up for about 8 months, whereas Joshua and Olivia had been over for 2 years. He follows this up by saying, sure, it wasn't perfect back then, I'll be the first to admit, but it was better than being strangers again. You'll remember that in Would You Love Me Now, he mentions being a stranger whose eyes look the same, and here, again, he's talking about being strangers. The chorus goes, ever since that day, the things I didn't say, they haunt me, and I know that I'm to blame, so go ahead and blame it on me. I know that I'm too late, but I'll say it anyway, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, though it's far too late. So here Joshua is blaming himself for something that happened between him and Olivia. I doubt he's referring to the breakup, just because he's repeatedly said that was Olivia's doing, but that doesn't mean he doesn't regret his behaviour during the relationship and since they've split. And we remember that a lot of Olivia's songs on her album Sour talked about Joshua treating her badly during the relationship. You know, it's always 1 step forward and 3 steps back. I'm the love of your life until I make you mad. So clearly there was some trouble in that relationship, and maybe that is what Joshua's referring to here. He then goes on to say, and it was me, it wasn't you, it's cliche but it's true, I wasn't thinking how I usually do, and is your mama doing well, or does she still hate me still? Bet it was hard to watch me put you through hell. Again, Olivia's mentioned in a number of her songs, such as 1 Step Forward, 3 Steps Back, Favourite Crime, and the aforementioned unreleased Victim, that Joshua made her feel bad about herself during their relationship, and that she tried so hard to be everything that he liked, just for him to say he's not the compliment type. So here, Josh seems to be agreeing with that assessment. And if you ever hear this, I hope you know I'm not proud of who I've been, and if I see you again, I hope you know that I wish you nothing but the best, my biggest regret. As we can see, Joshua is again expressing regret for his past actions and wishing Olivia the best for the future, which is similar to her song Happy, where she says, I hope you're happy, just don't be happier, but the sentiment's there. Joshua also uses the words my biggest regret in his next song as well, which we're going to look at now. So another week after the previous song, Joshua released his most recent single, Different. A ballad that rounds off his latest batch of songs with a hopeful track that speculates on how if he and Olivia got back together, maybe this time it would be different. The song is presented as Joshua being physically with Olivia, which is an interesting development, as in he's like physically in the same room as her, that this is a conversation that they were having in person. And actually there are a few lyrics in Different which relate back to the previous song, I'm Sorry. Darling, how I missed you, 2 years not even friends. Again, we have this reference to the 2 years, which, as I said before, is when Joshua and Olivia broke up. And I'm trying not to kiss you because we've seen how this can end, and my therapist would kill me if she knew that I was here. This suggests that Joshua and Olivia are physically together in the context of this song, which I think could be them at the High School Musical, the musical, the series season 3 premiere event, because that's the only time anyone's seen them together looking happy to be in each other's presence since they broke up back in 2020. But no one knows me like you know me, dear. And Olivia did say in her song Driver's License that her friends don't know you like I do. The chorus goes, I'm back in your arms, but everything's changed, now we've been to hell and back again. And like I said earlier, at the High School Musical, the series premiere event, they actually had their arms around each other. They were like hugging and smiling. So that could be what he's saying here when he says, I'm back in your arms, but everything's changed. My biggest regret was walking away. I'm not going to make the same mistake. Here we see these words, my biggest regret, making a reappearance after he used the same words in I'm sorry. I know you're afraid we'll end up the same, and the truth is we might, but if we do this thing right, maybe this time it'll be different. These lyrics suggest he and Olivia were actually considering getting back together, but Olivia was concerned that the same problems would arise. The next verse states, yeah, I'm already on cloud 9, don't want to head back down the stairs, and I didn't think you'd kiss me, but I'm too in love to care. And this implies that he and Olivia might have actually kissed when they reunited at the premiere. The final bridge states, make me yours and I'm not leaving. I know for sure you're all I needed. I can't believe I didn't see it. We took our time with space we needed. The space we needed presumably refers to the fact that Joshua and Olivia didn't speak after she released Driver's License. It sounds like now Joshua is suggesting that they have grown as people and could get back together, which is echoed in his sentiments throughout Would You Love Me Now and I'm Sorry, but curiously refuted completely in She Said, He Said, She Said, where he just talks shit about her for the entire song. Including that song with the other 3 in this EP was certainly a choice. Like, if he was trying to make this EP, you know, I do find it odd. It's like, Would You Love Me Now and I'm Sorry and Different all feel like some kind of like long-winded apology to Olivia for all the shit that went on. And then he slaps She Said, He Said, She Said right in the middle of the EP where he's like, you know, go ahead, talk your shit, I've been growing thicker skin. Like, what? Anyway, it's a bop though, go and listen to it. And there we have it, that's everything. We're once again up to date on the Olivia Rodrigo and Joshua Bassett drama. But there is one last thing I want to mention before we close out this video. So you remember Sabrina Carpenter released her album Emails I Can't Send in July of 2022. And one of the songs in that album is called Nonsense and has become the most popular song with the fans. She even has a Christmas remix, it's great. At a concert recently, Sabrina decided to add some extra lyrics to the outro. Here's the video.
I've got a personality that notice. The song is not about Joshua Bassett.
So Nonsense isn't about Joshua. Just a piece of trivia to add to this dossier. Anyway, thank you for joining me for another deep dive into Hollywood's most dramatic love triangle. Or at least for now. It's thought that Olivia will be releasing her second album sometime in the next few months, so if it's filled with songs about Joshua, expect to see me here again with the 2023 edition. But for now, that is all I have for you. Thank you for watching this video and for joining me in another dive into this crazy world of Disney Channel stars drama. And I'll catch you in whatever I put up next. Go and stream Joshua Bassett's EPs because they're very, very good. And stream Olivia and stream Sabrina because they're also very, very good. Stream all the albums, all of them. Just stream them all. And stream Midnights and stream whatever you want. Go and stream Nickelback's new Get Rollin' album because it's very good and upbeat and poppy for them. Yeah, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye, everyone.